in the early stages, and Kanavi has just shown so brightly. If there is, an angle for TES to go for, I think it has to be get your lanes ahead, get some winning matchups here in draft, then play for early game, play for jungle domination, and try and take Gen.G down that way.
I mean, Kanavi still has 100% first blood rate. This guy has been absolutely insane in the early stages and has been finding picks like the Jarvan that facilitate that style. Kiana is going to be the jungler that is focused here from Gen.G, and a lot of respect put onto that from the LCK towards the LPL jungler.
Yeah, I was listening to some of Nymira's streams when I was waiting to come to Worlds, and he was talking about how he thinks Kanavi is often the best Kiana in the world. So I'm not really too surprised that Gen.G decide to get rid of it here against Kanavi. Orianna, the final ban alongside Ambessa and Wukong from Top Esports, Azir, Yanara, and Kiana, the bans from Gen.G. So where are we looking for first pick?
Well, we have a lot of Rise and Talia both open. A lot of possible picks here. Interesting going for the Vi so early on. The point and click, though, very versatile, can work its way into a lot of comps.
It's also because it opens up 369 to go for the Sion pick here, because you know that Trundle is not going to be going in towards the jungle, and potentially even to take a Trundle for yourself on the opposite side. So I really like this from Top Esports, and 369 has been fantastic on this pick for so many years.
Yeah, so often a person that you look to in that top lane to be a rock, to be a foundation, a keystone around which you can build your team. 369, more often than not rolling the 9s these days, although there are a few 3s that sneak in there from time to time. Sion, his lock. We'll see where they decide to go. Expect Top Esports to look towards perhaps a jungle pick here. Could go towards mid as well, but that does give counter pick potential for Chovy. It is Aurora, so it'll be Cream locking that in for the mid lane.
All right, getting some burst damage for themselves, some flank possibilities here. Gen.G answer. What are we going to get into the sign? We've seen a couple of different answers. Ambessa was the most popular. Rek'Sai and Cassante are the other kind of tanks into it. Rek'Sai has been pretty funny. I think that Flandra has been the one that deserves to be able to play Rek'Sai.
Agreed.
We've had a lot of other top laners flopping with the champion, but Keen is definitely a top laner you can trust.
Exactly, and I think it does provide good follow-up for the Vi, right? You hit that Price Seeker onto someone who was locked up by the Vi after everyone's been scattered to the four corners, and make sure that you're able to get that dive potential. Alongside the Talia being able to spread out the fights, this feels like Gen.G already setting up for a very strong team fight, but now with the Xin Zhao on Top Esports side, it's going to be answered just as evenly.
Yeah, the instant answer. I love Xin into Vi usually because you can have a lot of priority and a lot of early skirmishes versus champion. It allows your team to make a lot of those choices towards some of the early stages of these objectives. Let's see about those bottom lanes, about those world champs that will be going head-to-head down there, though. Dive comps are definitely on the table, so you think Kai'Sa, and then the other side, you want to do are we going to have counter dive? And so for those types of combinations, I guess the Kai'Sa won't be the option this time around. Then you have Xayah possibilities, spell shield possibilities for Sivir. Let's see what we end up with.
Sivir and Kai'Sa are the first two bans. I will quickly come back to the point about trusting Keen on this Rek'Sai. I think he has leveled up a lot since last year, but he's only played it twice, both of it against T1 last spring, and he lost both games. So he has definitely evolved a lot as a top laner since then, and I do trust him. I think he's one of the best top laners in the world, probably the best at the moment, at least in terms of adaptability, but it has only been Flandra who's actually being able to pick up wins on this Rek'Sai so far.
One of the things I do trust on this Gen.G side is Duro, if he can get his hands on a Poppy, because at the moment, Poppy has been fantastic at this tournament, and at least looking at Top Esports, you would like another engage tool for Hong to try and round out this composition. Plus, it's been the picks that Hong has performed the best on, but if you end up with a Poppy on the opposite side, that can make it very difficult for Hong to really be the engage tool, or even for Kanavi to follow up effectively on this Xin Zhao.
You do want Hong to have a little bit of comfort because we're talking about how he's been sick across the last few days, hasn't really been able to have the performances he'd like. His coaching staff is saying he's getting better now. We expect him to be able to really perform, but I think so far at this World, Hong hasn't shone in the way you'd expect him to for this Top Esports lineup.
And they ban away his, possible counter engage with Renata there. When you're showing, this type of dive, definitely a worthy ban. In the end, the Corki that has been very, reliably in the meta here with the extra dash does a lot pretty well universally, and a takeaway from Ruler on top of that.
Where are you looking, Gen.G? AD carrying and support. Lucian, the current hover for Ruler. He is very comfortable on this champion. Him, Pays, and Viper, really the big three that I look at and think of when you're talking about Lucian picks, and there's the Brawl to go alongside it.
Yeah, and I mean, even when we saw Ruler play this at Worlds, was getting these massive CS leads over his opposition just off of the laning alone. So very, very comfortable on it, especially alongside the Braum. Now it looks like Hung going to end up opting in towards the Nico, looking to put a little bit of pushback against this Lucian Braum early power and set up nicely for that engage tool that we were looking for Top Esports.
Yeah, Top Esports last time around, and you kind of talk about him being sick a little, but he did not have the best Nico game. So
Agreed.
see if this one can be a bit better. Again, it is not going to be a very easy one. You've got Taliyah, Rox, and Braum to worry about when you're navigating for these engages. So you really do have to be on point. You have to synergize with Cream to get these engages. The Aurora plus the Nico have to be working together. And when they had the Annie plus the Nico, they failed almost every engage that they tried to go for as a team.
Hung did not have the best of times on this Nico, and I agree with you. I think these have been the two of the players that have been taking a lot of the scrutiny on this team. So we'll have to see if Top Esports now can try and perform, especially on home turf here against, for some of the players, their former teammates. It would be a massive, massive statement for the LPL to be able to take down the LCK first seed.
Also, just a really big statement for Top Esports at this tournament. So far, they've beaten G2 and 100 Thieves. And I'm going to be honest, like G2 day one did not look good. Top Esports looked great. 100 Thieves, although they can challenge, aren't known as the toppest of echelons in the world. And then you look at the rest of the teams that Top Esports need to get through to get to quarterfinals, beating a Gen.G, beating a T1, something like that would really help accelerate them in the minds of the audience, rather than just being they snuck through into quarterfinals. They then accelerate themselves into a position of a possible favorite for the tournament.
Especially if you look at the last year and a half, MSI 2024 lost 3-0 to G2 and then immediately lost to T1. Then at first stand, they lose to HLE, they lose to Carmine Corp, they lose to CFO and groups and don't even make it out of the bloody thing. So for Top Esports, they really do want to do themselves justice in China and show what the LPL is capable of.
I see the early swap coming out here from JackeyLove. It's Team WE that first did this year. At least it has been something we've seen throughout the course of League of Legends history. But it actually looks like JackeyLove is now going to path down towards the bot side. And I see Ruler moving up towards mid. I expect that he'll end up just going back down towards the bot, so we'll have the normal lane assignments.
Looks like it, and we'll see if they can get any sort of early brush play here. Hung was so early that he got the ward into second brush on the lane really early on, so we'll see. There's definitely a lot of burst potential in Corki and Nico, and trying to get that advantage over the Braum lane from the level 1 could be big. They do have a sweeper here.
Able to get rid of that vision. Having a double range does really help, and you talked about it a little bit as we got through the draft, Rob. It's a JDG 2023 reunion in the JDG Stadium, a team that was on the Golden Road, and Knight helping carry the team through the MSI 23, but they weren't quite able to cross that finish line and make it to the World's Finals, got knocked out in the semi-finals. 369, Kanavi and Ruler now all meeting back up on the stage where they dominated the LPL 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was incredibly heartbreaking for that JDG roster. Everyone expected them to be able to go the distance. A lot of that was down to incredible team fighting, with guys like 369 being able to provide frontline on picks like the Scion, and Ruler just being a menace in the team fights alongside Knight. But unfortunately, we're not able to do so, and now they find themselves on opposite sides of the rift with Kanavi there as well. It feels like for Top Esports to get one back against their former teammate would be huge.
Yeah, I feel like those players all still have very close bonds. I love listening to interviews where they're talking about coming back to the JDG arena and the emotions that they feel because of it, and all the work that they had put in together. Now, of course, as you say, on opposite sides, and Ruler pushed under tower early on, as expected from the Corki and Nico lane down here, getting priority.
But just really good harassment as well from the Top Esports bot lane, getting the barrier and the heal out of Gen.G early on. Duro on his Braum, 22-7 all time, but early game into a Nico and Corki, you do expect to have to absorb some of this pressure. The question is whether we'll see a punish with Kanavi on the bottom side of the map. I think he is just going to go for the scuttle cap and a little bit of vision. You can see Gen.G think there's a possibility, place a ward in the tri-bush to make sure that they're not susceptible to that gank.
Yeah, just want to make sure that they're able to get some nice little poke damage back as well with Ruler, but Kanavi just wants to get the ward, get the crab, and look for a reset himself. So at the moment, it is going to be relatively quiet in these early stages. And honestly, I think if I'm junglers, I'm eyeing up more towards this mid lane to see exactly what we can achieve, because burnt flash and burnt summoner spells mean a huge amount in this matchup.
Now here's the possible dive. Will materialize. Kanavi comes across, Ruler forced away. Can just be to deny some of these minions as well. Winter's Bite onto Jackie-Love. Duro the target. Kanavi going to be looking to try and get the damage down onto Duro. Hung with a great tower aggro juggle on the cannon. And Kanavi and Jackie-Love able to pick up that first blood. Ruler forced away at half HP. Canyon here to try and defend, but it's a plate, it's a kill, it's everything Top Esports wanted.
It's one of the best parts about Nico. Rob was talking about it in the previous game. Turn into a cannon, tank that thing up, and it makes dives so easy, even into champions like Braum that people usually think, oh, well, it's Braum, you know, unbreakable, this is going to be super dangerous, but not necessarily true if you can turn into a cannon, and Hong here is able to get the aggro.
I did think with the Braum and even the concussion, or the concussive stacks, that it would just be too difficult, especially with Ruler playing so far back. But Hong, you just tank so many shots, it does not matter. And Duro even burning the flash, hoping that he'd be able to survive long enough, but it is the prowess of that Nico on the dives.
The important thing about that is you might wonder why Nico isn't taking that much damage. If you're a cannon minion, you don't get the ramping damage that a champion would in that case, which allows Hong just to auto-attack and stand there, wiggle side to side on his little cannon minion, and tank the tower for many more shots than he usually would be able to.
Yeah, it's one of the peculiarities with Nico is that you literally count as what you're turning into, and so it even works for like runes that only activate on champions and
Spells
stuff
as well.
Hung going in here, looking for Ruler, who dashes away with the relentless pursuit. Hung flashing forward, though. The barrier coming out. Valkyrie forward from Jackie-Love. Concussive blows down onto him. And Jackie-Love flashes just in time to survive the Gatling gun coming out. Hung, a couple more auto attacks on him. And Light Slinger out Ardent Blaze. Gen.G turn it on his head on the bot side. Winner's Bite just wide of Jackie-Love there from Gen.G, but they even out the scoreboard.
The start was so good for Top Esports. Ruler was set so far behind, but in the 2v2, Ruler gets a kill back and immediately undoes so much of the work Top Esports set up on that bottom side.
Canyon now looking for the dive up towards top side. Can be a little bit risky. Flash in from Keen, bow breaker from Canyon. Not risky at all, it seems. Perfectly juggled by Gen.G.
Dive answered. Topside pressure there is unrelenting. Keen on the Rek'Sai softens him up, and Canyon comes to finish the job. Keen did flash to start this play out, but honestly, Rek'Sai is so hard to gank already with the tunnel network that she can put down in lane. It makes it very frustrating to go after the champion. Sign ult does hit though.
I mean, Keith's going to get knocked up here. We'll look to try and put another tunnel down. Was trying to play for that plate, and I believe did manage to pick it up before tunneling away. Kanavi, meanwhile, starting up this Drake. Has hit level 6, while Canyon's still only level 5. Needs a couple more minions to get over to that 6 mark, but I think Canyon will realize can't really fight this one. Dragon over to Top Esports.
And not going to be able to mess with this in, and pushing bottom lane as well for TES. The saving grace for the bottom lane for TES there, of course. Jackie didn't die, and they already had the minion advantage from denial under turret. And so Jackie still remains with a lot of extra CS here, and both of them getting the kill credit does mean very, very formidable.
Chovy chunking out Kanavi, who just walks around the corner, tries to avoid the seismic shove, can't do so. Pulled back into the unraveled earth. Duro dives forward and then pops the unbreakable to make sure he doesn't take too much damage in response.
Yeah, I'm curious how much pressure we're going to see from Top Esports in towards the mid lane. Nice job by Cream to manage to escape away from that. But one of the things we saw from AL was a huge amount of focus on moving members to the mid lane and trying to target Chovy. And I thought that might have been kind of the new game plan in the LPL to try and shut down Chovy and in turn try to shut Gen.G. But at the moment, Hong kind of stuck in this bottom side and wanting to try and play through the 2v2 for his strength, hasn't been able to make it towards mid yet.
Dive in from Kanavi. When the wind becomes lightning, he's going to get knocked up by Keen, who unburrows. There's a big wave here. They could have chunked out Keen. Perhaps they would have been able to force him away with the threat of a dive, but they can't do so. Rek'Sai so good at maintaining her health bar through fights like this. Canyon waiting as the grubs are begun by Top Esports. TP coming in from Duro as well, as he looks to help out his teammates. Canyon and Keen going to walk across here first. Will be a 3v3 as Queen comes across. Kanavi able to pick up the first of the grubs. Cannon diving in, the cease and desist, but a great between worlds from Cream will get him out. Hung coming in with the strangled thorns as well. The dive ball to the void rush, Crescent Guard out. Keen survives through the tunnel. A great seismic shot finds two, and just as you think you got him, Gen.G get you right back 2-0, and all of it on that seismic shot from Chovy. Duro flashes. Gen.G somehow all come out alive.
Oh, the skirmish from Gen.G. What? They get out alive. Keen survives. And in the end, they will get both of these grubs. They will get the credit towards the feats.
I cannot believe Gen.G got away with that one. It looked like it was going to be done and dusted with Top Esports repositioning, but it doesn't matter. Their Gen.G were able to collapse so well. You see Top Esports all trying to jump onto Duro, but the second that you end up getting hit by the Winter's Bite, everyone jumps onto Cream, he repositions. But the follow through here, as Keen gets the ult, manages to escape, and there's so much that has been invested into him. The seismic shove sets up perfectly for the follow-up, and this Braum is getting so much value with everyone grouped up.
Yeah, Keen, the distraction, and lives and allows Chovy to get such a good knock-in. Gen.G come out so far ahead of that. They just explode the gold lead, 2,000 now.
Cream had to flash while we were in that replay, as did Kanavi, it looks like, as both of their flashes are currently on cooldown. Can't quite see exactly what happened there, but we'll see whether it is truly punished. Maybe that Cream flashed a little bit earlier on. I just saw the observers hovering it, so we no longer have the flash for Kanavi and Cream. A 2,000 gold lead for Gen.G 10 minutes into this game, and it's just the teamfight execution from Gen.G was just sublime there. Everyone knowing exactly what their job was as Keen continues to trade with 369 up towards this top side.
It's one of the things that really added a lot of survivability to Rek'Sai. Honestly, because I was spamming it jungle, I was hoping it wouldn't get too big of a thing and wouldn't get a big spotlight, so everyone starts playing it. But being able to set the W on just a second cooldown upon using your ultimate allows you way more escape angles. And Keen really nicely played that fight, saving it and using it to get out afterwards. Bot side, though,
They didn't spot him.
Well, Canyon did come through. He was on vision as he jumped into that tri-bush for a very short period of time. Glacial Fissure was used and Canyon showed around the corner. Top Esports begin to back away. Do have the Pop Blossom on Hung if they want to try and defend underneath the tower. Canyon looking for that cease and desist. Hung, looming burst, gets a bit of damage. Pop Blossom. Canyon tries to escape, but he's locked up with the Tangle Bombs. Unbreakable from Duro, keeping his jungler alive, but Jackie Love will take down 166 back in as Jackie falls for it. Canyon goes down in the dive. It's a 2-for-1 to Top Esports. The collapse coming in from Kanavi as Ruler has flash and barrier to try and get away from this, and should be able to dash out with that relentless pursuit. Chovy looking for a gank up towards the top side, won't materialize for him, and in the end, Top Esports coming out on top in that dive.
Jackie Love, Valkyries forward, and I thought it was going to be a complete disaster with those concussive blow stacks there, but they're just about able to get the kill onto Canyon as well. It's bedlam in this early stage.
yeah, we get a bloodbath and we get a bit of comedy as well on the bottom lane. Honestly, you know, Canyon going in here, but look at Jackie, he deletes the minion wave. So then Canyon gets caught in tower aggro by Hung. Really good heads up play by Jackie to delete the minion wave, and then Jackie's like, okay, we got a great lockup. And so he goes all in, ends up being 2-for-1 in favor of TES in a fight that was 3v1 in favor of Gen.G, and them being the ones to try and force it.
Top Esports will be happy enough to have got something out of that bot side. While we're in that replay, an Ocean Drake was taken for Gen.G. Gold down from 2k lead for the LCK #1 seed to about 1,000. Still the leads for Top Esports are only in that bottom lane. 600 gold on the AD carry, 700 on your support, whereas the top side of the map, all blue on the bottom of your scoreboard.
And a lot of this, again, has kind of been Canyon having a fantastic game here. He's been a little bit out of it when it came towards some of the matchups against AL. It felt like Tarzan was able to get the better of him in that series, or in that game. But this time around in this series thus far against Top Esports, he has been everywhere in the early stages. And now they can use this pressure to play around mid, play around Ruler, try and lock down this core key, see if they can play with the Cullings on Lucian. And as long as you can get control over mid, it becomes very easy to have these excursions into the enemy jungle, which is what Gen.G are trying to set up now.
I'm going to retreat away from Duro and Ruler, who are stepping forward. A little bit of vision towards where the blue buff would be. Kanavi will be spotted as he comes around that bend. Held up in a minute and a half. Keen using the fact that he gets the push in that top side to step down and clear out a bit of vision around there, even just setting up the tunnels for himself for a possible Rift Herald play.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm already prepared to give Keen the Rek'Sai pass.
Yes.
He has already earned 3 turret plates on top side.
Kanavi diving in here. Can he have to jump away? Unstoppable Onslaught being used. Keen looking for the Demolish proc. Should be able to get it, but the minion wave actually not in range for him. Furiously bites away at that tower, and the 2 grubs enough to get him to play.
Calculated, beautiful stuff. As I said, he gets the Rek'Sai pass. He can play it here at Worlds as well.
Apparently having 2 eyes in the middle of your name rather than 1 allows you to play that Rek'Sai well into the Scion. If you only have 1 in the middle, sometimes you get caught.
Which is hilarious because she's blind.
Keen having a really good performance, having a really good year overall. I think a lot of people will always look at Chovy as the main player for Gen.G, but I think Keen and Duro have actually been the most consistent carries for me for this team. Keen especially with his jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife style. You can put him into any role and he really fulfills that without losing the impact that a tank player would have if they were playing a carry top lane. He seems to be able to do everything well.
Yeah, most certainly. And Rek'Sai kind of toes that line as well. Since the build is this bruiser build where you go Titanic into Sojin, you actually have a decent amount of damage, you have a decent amount of backline threat, but still quite tanky and very annoying for opponents to deal with. Even with Hung up here with 369, it doesn't matter. King can go very, very aggressively, keep on pushing, and that tower has been whittled so low by his efforts that it poses a very big threat as far as feats. I mean, Canyon might even just beat him to it if they just get Rift Herald, then they're just going to get it through objectives.
Dive in by Ruler, immediately gets the culling down, but not the concussive blows. Pop Blossom out of Hung, only finds it onto Ruler, and with Redemption coming down, Ruler will be topped up in time. The Rift Herald started by Gen.G while all of this was happening. Ruler merely a distraction in the mid lane as Gen.G wanted that Herald.
And this is exactly how you want to try and use this Lucian, especially alongside the Braum, making sure you can get the concussive blow stacks, get the slow, and then open up with that culling. And now Rift Herald immediately in towards the mid lane. Gen.G are taking no prisoners.
Yeah, honestly, this is a masterclass from Gen.G. Ruler and Duro, they push Jackie out so hard. Wait a second.
Flank. Jumps onto Duro, weirding back with a seismic shove. Between worlds goes Cream and dives onto Duro and flashes, and immediately he's locked up with the concussive blows that re-engage from Gen.G. Perfect as they dive in with the cease and desist. Jackie Love can't survive. The onslaught of Keen and Canyon, a seismic shove, buries top Esports. 369 looks for the flash. An unstoppable onslaught. Cowards, he cries as he runs away from the fight.
Gen.G are speed running TES right now. It is crazy. Ruler and Duro, they pushed out Jackie in the mid lane, and so then Hung using the flash to go for that play onto Ruler afterwards. There was no damage, no follow-up. Then the Nico was left without flash afterwards, and Gen.G just destroyed them in the fight.
Yeah, and then even here, Cream thinks he's about to make his play, but unfortunately, this milk was spoiled as he ends up sending himself straight into the back line to do nothing. Ruler's just there to immediately get the follow-up, and all it does is bait in members like Kanavi, who end up falling down. You've got 369 who's TPing miles away and can't get involved. And Gen.G, I mean, says it all right there.
And it's a different fight if you still have the Pop Blossom. If you haven't had to use that to make sure Ruler doesn't kill off your AD carry, perhaps Top Esports can turn it. But now, 17 minutes in, Gen.G are 5K ahead. This is a demolition from the LCK #1 seeds. Top Esports left reeling, left trying to find a way back into this game, but the windows are rapidly closing on them as Hong goes forward. Pop Blossom onto 3, and perhaps that's it. Hong with a beautiful Pop Blossom. Ruler trying to get away as Hong chases him down, but Ruler escapes with the culling. Cream forced down towards the bottom side of the fight. Kanavi diving in. Wind becomes lightning, but Ruler dodges to the side of it. The redemption not enough. In the end, Kanavi will find his man. But off an incredible Pop Blossom, it's still a 2 for 2.
And the Dragon is still going to Gen.G. They chase down Cream on the back of the fight. And while everyone at Top Esports is looking mid lane, it's Gen.G with their eyes on the prize.
Yeah, we're only 17 minutes into the game, and the objective bounty shutdowns are on the map in favor of TES. You know they are very, very far behind. Now, if they hadn't been able to just finish off Ruler there, then it really would have been egg on their face. But Hung does start it out, gets the 3-person Nico ultimate, even though he didn't have Flash or Proto Belt. And so you think, oh, it's going to be really, really good for TES. Ruler creates a lot of space flashing to the other side, and so you can see Canyon and Keen are able to chase down the Aurora on the other side, and Keen coming up with that double kill.
They just spent so much time trying to chase down Ruler, who barely escaped. They bought everything that Gen.G needed. And it feels like even when you get a miracle engage like that, the fact that Top Esports can't really find the success says a lot about where they are in this game. And now it's going to be the macro play from Gen.G as they set up on this top side, looking at potential vision control and that top lane turret.
Yeah, and they've got some fed solo lanes. Chovy and Keen both with 2,000 plus gold leads. And Dark Seal had been stacking up for Chovy as well. So he's got the extra ability power there. I mean, TES, they're going to have to craft some sort of heavy, like 5-person play out of Fog of War to catch someone off guard.
If you're Top Esports, you press tab and you're crying. Like Spear, you got the Sundered Sky, the Rylai's, the Seraphs, and the Vori Flicker Blades, the Essence Reaver. Like you are not a very happy bunny when you look at the opposing inventories. And I guess for Top Esports, the one saving grace is you got a Mountain Drake earlier on. It's not an early soul for Gen.G, but 3 minutes away will be that soul. Point Artican up in 20 seconds, and Gen.G just ruling the Rift right now. Dura able to step forward here, not really too afraid of Top Esports. Ruler will be waiting for his flash to come back up, still about a third of the cooldown on that, so doesn't want to step up too far on his lonesome.
And it's also against Gen.G, who are not exactly a team that is known for throwing games, so it is a little tough when you want to come into this. And again, the early control from Gen.G has been spectacular. Canyon been able to find these great dives, even the turnaround play from Duro and Ruler on that bottom end of the map. It felt like every time Top Esports were trying to find advantages, it was Gen.G just shutting the door in their face.
And that hurts. Have you ever had a door slammed in your face? Because Top Esports are looking like it. They want to try and return the favor, but Chovy just walls away and will be safe.
Just weave that wall away to safety. Duro caught out a little bit with the Blooming Burst, but you can see the Nico clone just being used for extra vision here by Top Esports. Gen.G advancing in 2 lanes at the same time. Top and bot, their current targets. Keen stealing away jungle camps whenever he can, just to make Kanavi ever so slight bit weaker. Try and get rid of all the standing gold that Top Esports could find for themselves. Duro TP's back in. You can see Gen.G's current investment is vision towards this top side. They're going to use Ruler to push out mid, and then he can move up and join up with the rest of the team, which makes sense because there's an Artican here. It's the only neutral objective up for the next 2 minutes of the game. Is all of Top Esports back, and won't be an immediate start. Oh, it will, in fact, from Gen.G as Ruler makes his way up through the river.
Gen.G just know they're way stronger on these 2 atom spikes, and Top Esports now have to try and retake, but this Artican is long gone, and Gen.G again just continue to add to this lead.
Look at Duro. He just stands, he's like, hey, you want to get anywhere near? You have to walk through me, and through me is also through a seismic shove as Gen.G look for the engage. Keen with a perfect bang. The Pop Blossom's only going to find the jungler. It's not enough. Crescent Guard from Kanavi won't keep him alive through the damage that is Ruler. The dash back from Cream. Oh, it's a shellacking. It's a demolition. I'm not even sure we're allowed to show this on your screens. Gen.G with a 5-0 ace at 22 minutes.
Yeah, I think we just witnessed the murder. That is Gen.G absolutely crushing Top Esports with a clean ace, losing no one, face tanking towers in the aftermath.
The fact that they're still able to tank towers just says how poorly that one has gone. Gen.G, like, they split up these fights so incredibly well. Jackie Love caught on the bottom side of this wall, and then on the top they're putting pressure into Cream as well, and a huge amount of that is thanks to this dive duo of Keen and Canyon. They immediately take separate targets, and 369 just isn't able to pick a side that he wants to try and fight on. You cannot be losing, you've your top side losing. Jackie Love is diving for safety and is saying, please, for the love of God, save me. But there is no savior here on Top Esports.
Top Esports trying to run, but nowhere on Summoner's Rift is safe for them. Even their own base will quickly become Gen.G territory.
And with that fight, Canyon moves into 6th place all time in international assists, 1,145. And for a player coming into this tournament that I think a lot of people saw as the weakest link of Gen.G, who was having a struggle of a time during the summer split, this game, and it is only one game, is really showing just how impactful he can be and how well Gen.G can play when he gets his lanes ahead, because that's exactly what he's done here. He'll secure the 3rd Drake for them, as well as 369 tries to defend under this tower. The Science tanky, and he'll be able to survive through any damage Gen.G put into him right now, but he's not really able to keep the tower topped up for too long with another wave coming in.
And we are witnessing why so many people have Gen.G as such heavy favorites, you know, coming into this tournament. An absolutely star-studded lineup here, and we're even going to see them continue.
Pop Blossom only going to hit onto Duro. Not able to chase any further as Canyon jumps across the wall with the Vault Breaker. Duro, Redemption coming down on Unstoppable Onslaught, won't be enough damage. Duro survives! Duro survives again, you just can't kill him. As Kanavi's caught out by Keen, he's going to pop the Crescent Guard to try and survive, but is guarding nada. Jackie Love and Cream feel the full power of the culling. Chovy's flashing the damn wall, for goodness sake, as Gen.G once again ace Top Esports and will push down mid.
They're gonna potentially end the game, and Baron hasn't even spawned yet. It's 30 seconds, and Gen.G, they're just eyeing up the Nexus.
Rated R for mature, this game was anything but kind from Gen.G. 21 kills to 5. Duro, he dies to a tower as Hung tries to do something to defend, but Gen.G, sub 25 minutes, dismantle Top Esports.
The Nexus Tower at the end doing what Top Esports couldn't and actually killing Duro there. Gen.G making quick work of it.